welcome back, and we sincerely do apologize for a technical hitch that we've experienced, but like the rules of theatre, the show must go on, and we're still together with Geert Andersen, the Danish ambassador to Kenya. And right now I would like us to just think about Denmark and what are your key areas of investment in Kenya.
You see, we are in I think 3 different fields that I would like to point at. First of all, we have a huge engagement in the transport sector. We have the largest container line in the world, Maersk, who's very active here. You must have seen their containers around, right? They have been here for many, many years. They're doing very good business, and they see good prospects for Kenya and for the region. We are in the wind and energy sector, where we have a Danish company, Vestas, that is now working on getting the final details ready for the big Electrocana windmill project. That's very, very important. And then third, we have Grundfos, which is a Danish water company that provides pumps for rural as well as urban water supply. These are 3 major companies in 3 areas where Kenya we need infrastructure. That's where Maersk is. We have consulting companies also in the infrastructure sector. We have energy, where we have Vestas as the largest company, but where we also have companies working with biomass, with solar energy, and with energy efficiency. How can we actually save energy? And then third, in the water sector, where Grundfos provides the pumps, but where we also have other companies looking at cleaning of water, saving of water, and where we have a number of different companies. So we think these 3 areas will actually assist Kenya moving forward. And
I mean, I think a few months ago, I had a company, we had gone for a visit of some of your projects in Makueni and Machakos.
Yes, correct.
Yeah? And so I'm wondering, first of all, what for some of these, for you to fund some projects, what do you look for, the prerequisites, that who qualifies for that kind of thing?
No, but I mean, you see, what we have, the delegation that our Minister of Trade and Investment brought down here was commercial, right? What we went to see in Machakos is a development project.
Yes.
But you see, I believe that Kenyans can benefit from having Danish development projects coming in now, because what we can provide here in Kenya is not a lot of money, but value added in terms of knowledge and in terms of how to do things, right? Kenyans are very smart. We have seen that all over the place. I mean, nobody can outbeat you.
Thank you.
You know, that's sure, that's sure. And marathon in London, you saw that over the weekend.
That was Denmark.
The best Dane was 27th, far behind. No, but where we become relevant for the Kenyans is because we can add value in the terms of the knowledge that we can bring to the field in green energy and in green growth. And that's why the project in Machakos and Makueni that you talked about was essential. Because what we do there is that we help small farmers get onto the international market. We make the link between a small farmer, not necessarily poor, but a small farmer in Kenya and the market, the supermarkets in Denmark. How can we actually get this value chain strengthened so that the packaging, the product, the sort of beans or peas or mangoes or whatever they produce is the right one, right? And then how do we then produce these products in a way so that it is eco-friendly, so that we don't pollute the air by CO2, but for example using a solar pump that we saw down with Elizabeth, as her name is, down in Makueni, right? And how we can actually use a sprinkler system so that the spare water which is available there is not overused, but we use exactly the water that the plants need for growing. This is the type of knowledge, extra knowledge that we can bring in. And what I see is that some of the companies who are here now can actually benefit from this, because we see the possibility that our development corporation brings some knowledge from which Danish private business can then work together with your companies here and further this development.
I remember at Manyata, which is in Machakos, there was a well, you know, the well that was built which cost about 3 million Kenyan shillings, and it helps 2,000 people. So the simple math shows that it's 1,500 shillings per person on the long term. Do you think such projects are being done enough?
No, I think we can do much more. And that's why I think that we need a closer relationship between the private sector and the public sector. The private sector is ready in many ways, but the public sector needs to be a bit more up to speed. You must have legislation here which is more friendly for the public sector and the private sector to work together. Water is a case in field. This Grundfos pumps that you're mentioning here, where we actually have this very smart system of saving water, using solar energy, and where you actually use the M-Pesa system for paying for your water, is unique. But we need some kind of public-private cooperation here for this type of development, for this type of project to be furthered, because the initial costs are a bit expensive, and we need to have some kind of public backing for this to move ahead.
And when you look at Kenya compared to our neighbors, in terms of investment, how much more does Denmark bring into Kenya compared to the neighboring countries?
I think it is difficult to say that cent by cent, shilling by shilling, because in one year we might have a big investment here, and another year we might have a big investment in Tanzania and in Uganda and Rwanda and Burundi, the other East African community members. But in general, I think Danish businesses see Kenya as a hub for doing business in the other countries, because you have the financial sector here is good. It's relatively easy to set up a new business, and then of course with the Port of Mombasa being the entry point, you have a unique chance. Communication is also good here. I mean, internet, telephones, and so on. It's well functioning. There are still some things that the government has to work on, and the private sector has to work together with the government to improve. So it makes it easier for Kenya. Kenya is still a little bit behind when it comes to business-friendly environment, and the government, I think, should take a sharp look at this to become even more attractive for businesses.
So that means that there's still a lot of potential. Maybe the best, but we are not there yet, per se.
More can be done, I think. More can be done. But Kenya is on the right track, and as I said again, peace and security is of essence here. Without that, Danish companies will be reluctant to come here. But if we can guarantee that, there might be a lot of discussions politically. We also have that at home in an election year. People are discussing, arguing, but as long as it is friendly, companies will continue to come here, and Kenya will be the hub for moving into the other parts of the country, of the region.
And like when you go to help these smaller scale farmers, for instance, and you give them all this equipment, do you also have programs that run the same? That I mean, to train them and equip them to be able to know what to do?
Yes, we do, because what we do is that in order for these farmers to be able to produce the right product, to get the right seeds, to know when to use water. They don't get inspiration from heaven. They have to learn this, right? And of course there are training programs which are directed towards these farmers, and it's very focused, so that we make sure that we don't waste money and talent, right? We are very focused, seeing how finding some good farmers where there's a good potential, and these farmers can then train other Kenyan farmers, because you see, where we can get with our capacity here is limited, but if we can get Kenyans to train Kenyans, that's where the benefits are, right?
Yes.
And then we just hand over the knowledge and the capacity that we have acquired from many hundreds of years now of doing agriculture in Denmark. Not so much because we, as you know, in Denmark we have agriculture under complete different climatic conditions. It's very cold, actually, I can tell you. But the systems, the way systems operate, right, is very efficient in Denmark, and very efficient in terms of utilization of resources. And that's where where Kenya can benefit.
And when we talk about the different places you're investing in the country, in terms of helping projects, what is your criteria of choosing? Are you involved in projects maybe for in northeastern Kenya, or in the northern side of Kenya, or in other areas of Kenya? How do you choose which areas to?
I think the market determines this. Where there is a business potential, I think Danish companies will be interested. So we have the Lake Turkana windmill, we have the port of Mombasa, we have of course several projects and project ideas that Danish companies are pursuing here in Nairobi. So it depends where the business possibilities are.
Okay, and so I'm thinking about, you've talked about peace and security, right? And for the government is spending a lot on that, for instance, right? And in the event that we don't get to a place where we're not very peaceful. You said it's very easy for Denmark and even other international players to pull out.
I don't know pull out, but I mean expanding more. They will probably sit on the fence and see what is happening, right? I mean, I think the memories of 2008 are still here, right? And what I just ask is for the Kenyan population also to keep that in mind, because so that we don't get into that situation again. So this scenario doesn't apply, because I believe that the prospects here are so great. Many Kenyans live in poverty still. Growth and investments, this is what is necessary. International trade, opening Kenya up to the international community so that more companies can come down here. Not less companies, more cooperation with the international community can come down here. This is what will assist Kenya in growing, and this is actually also what will reduce poverty.
Thank you. I think actually poverty reduction is something that is very key, that everyone is always trying to fight in Kenya. But thank you for joining us. We really appreciate you coming and availing yourself to join us on the show. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. That was that is I don't know, I'm doing away with you. That is the Danish ambassador to Kenya, Geert Andersen, and he's been here live with us, telling us about the investment and in terms of how the business community in Denmark is trying to engrave its more deeper in the Kenyan scene. And now move straight